You don't need me to say it at this point, but Superman is a generational superhero movie. I'm talking David Corenswet, James Gunn. This incarnation of Superman is going to be the defining depiction for the character for an entire generation. And it turns out the answer to the perfect Superman was right in front of us all along. What's up, y'all? My name is Leander Way, aka Way Sensei. I'm a storyboard artist with a degree in 3D animation, so I know just a little bit about the art of making movies. I'm here to tell you exactly how Superman won over audiences with one of the simplest storytelling tricks in the book. This is deconstructing cinema. By the way, spoilers for this entire movie. If you haven't seen it and don't want to be spoiled, add this video to your save for later playlist and come back when you've seen it and your life is irreparably changed for the better and you want to hear me gush all about it. All right? You've been warned. When I said James Gunn used one of the simplest tricks in the book, I meant that literally, as in there's literally a book written on this exact topic. It's called Save the Cat by Blake Snyder. Except in Gunn's Superman, I'd call this method Save the Squirrel. Corenswet's interpretation of the Man of Tomorrow is the sort of kind, hopeful, humanity-loving Boy Scout that this world in this time and era needs. The best part is, Superman's kindness isn't just preached, it's practiced. James Gunn doesn't need to sit here and tell us and lecture us all about how good a person Kal-El is in the script. It's right there on the screen. He shows it to you so many times. In fact, Gunn can be seen spamming the hell out of this technique like a dude learning a new Super Smash Bros. Move for the first time. Gunn has said in interviews that they almost cut out the now crowd favorite squirrel saving scene. Test audiences apparently didn't respond well to it, asking, why is he saving a squirrel in the middle of a battle? He's wasting time when he should be defeating the monster. And I'm so glad Gunn stuck to his, well, you know, because this is fundamentally the essence of Superman. He is kind, he loves life, and he goes out of his way to preserve it when he can. He feels and grieves deeply at injustice and the loss of all life. Rest in peace, Malik. Superman doesn't care about the trolley problem. He saves the one guy tied to the first track and the 5 tied to the second, and then stops the runaway train from derailing, all while beating up the guy who set up the sadistic thought experiment in the first place. Because what's wrong with him? Screw that guy. Anyway, I tried to pick one scene for the video to hone in on where Superman demonstrates that he's a beacon of hope by doing good. Some of the ones I tested out were like the scene where Superman is gonna turn himself in to save a dog he doesn't even really like, simply because
he's out there alone and he's probably scared.
Or when Superman saves a woman on a bridge from a falling building and takes time out of his very busy day up to that point to aura farm real quick. Or even the big monologue at the end to Lex Luthor basically explaining the entire thesis of the film. But honestly, man, Superman goes out of his way so much to save innocent lives in this movie that I made a list of 10 times within a 2-hour movie where Superman goes out of his way to save bystanders. 1. Superman saves the Jarimpurans from the Baravian invasion. This isn't even shown to us in the movie, it's put there for us to read about. When your acts of kindness are so plentiful that the writer doesn't even feel the need to show it in the actual movie, you know you're in for a real Boy Scout ass character.
What the hey, dude? What the hey, dude?
But by starting us off with that information in the title crawl, Gunn sets up Superman's character from minute 1, emphasizing that this is an iteration that is focused on saving lives, no matter the ethnicity or legality, as we'll see later on during the interview between Lois and Clark.
I wasn't representing anybody except for me. People were going to die.
2. Superman saves a barking dog from the kaiju. 3. Superman saves a burning building full of people, also the building. I love that people don't even move after being spat fire at by a literal walking kaiju. At first I thought it was a joke at the expense of the bystanders in superhero movies where the trope is that they don't even care that there's huge amounts of fighting going on in front of them, which I guess it was. But this can actually be seen as a demonstration of their trust in Superman's ability to end the conflict without casualties. We'll talk more about that trust later, but it's said that in the 3 years that Superman's been active, there have likely been 0 casualties, which just shows you how committed Superman is to the preservation of life. Number 4, Superman saves a woman from being stepped on by the kaiju. Notice how all these basically take place within the same fight? James Gunn is deliberately going out of his way to shoot Superman going out of his way to save innocents. Number 5, Superman saves the little girl from the debris. Now, we've all seen this from the trailer shots. It's what got a lot of us hyped to even see the movie in the first place, seeing a different take on a Superman with different priorities than the aura farmer of steel. Number 6, Superman saves a squirrel from the kaiju. This is the moment of the movie where I went, okay, you win. This is my Superman now. Because how can you not be on board with a superhero whose job it is to save lives, who goes out of his way to save the smallest, most vulnerable of us? That squirrel was just there. It literally just lived there. It had nothing to do with the conflict or even had any concept of what fight was going on. Number 7, Superman saves Metamorpho's baby, which itself has reverberating consequences. I'll get to that later though. Number 8, Superman saves Krypto. Number 9, Superman saves every single hostage from Lex's pocket dimension. As soon as he makes it out, he is immediately gearing up to go back in to save the others, even after narrowly escaping death and a black hole, and has to be stopped by Lois and Mr. Terrific. Number 10, Superman saves a woman from a falling building. Honestly, this is my favorite scene in the entire movie, besides the chest emblem shot at the end. If that's not a shot of hope embodied, I don't know what is. And bonus, Superman even tries to save the kaiju and laments its death because all life is sacred to Superman. All right, I've dragged it long enough. The reason Superman works convincingly in this movie, as I've said, is because of his acts of kindness. The save the squirrel method, if you will. The save the cat principle I'm basing this off of, for those who might not know, is basically the idea in screenwriting that while introducing your protagonist, your main character, to the audience, you want them to perform an act of altruism. For example, saving a cat from out of a tree, in order to manipulate your audience to fall in love with their kindness. Because at the end of the day, that's what all stories are about, using cinematic and writing techniques to make the audience feel specific emotions. And if you want to hear more about the hidden techniques your favorite movies and shows use to make you feel feelings, or learn how to do this in your own stories, consider hitting that subscribe button and leaving a comment below to let YouTube know that you want to stick around for more of this kind of stuff from me. But back to the video. So basically that's how Save the Cat works. Creating an opportunity during the introduction of your story for the protagonist to show their kindness in order to get you to like them. James Gunn saw that principle and said, let's just do that the entire time. Quick side note, did you know that the working title for Superman during production was Genesis? That's not a coincidence to me. That, to me, tells the entire story of James Gunn's intent for not only Clark Kent / Kal-El, but for Superman, the film's role in his burgeoning universe. Think about it. James Gunn is tasked with creating an entirely brand new DCU to house a whole universe of superhero films and series, and who does he choose to be the flagship film that introduces the entire rest of the DCU? Superman. You might say, oh, that's obvious. Superman's the most popular money-making IP Warner Brothers has in its repertoire, especially in the superhero lineup. Of course it'd be the first movie. But beyond that, let's go back to Save the Squirrel. Remember, Gunn saw the Save the Cat principle and basically said, let's ratchet that up to 100. Not only does Superman go out of his way to save one innocent, he does this time and again throughout the entire film. I just gave you 10 examples and a bonus for all the times he saves people in the middle of fighting the bad guy. And it works because James Gunn understands intimately that heroism, that duty to protect life, is the core element of Superman's character. And this character trait translates as a whole to the rest of the DCU. Because of course, Superman is not the only superpowered hero that lives in Metropolis. When we first get on the scene, Clark has been Superman and doing Supermanly things for 3 years. But we also have the Justice Gang, who've been contracted as basically a corporate task force to fight crime by Max Lord, another billionaire in the universe. Superman isn't getting paid to save people. He has a day job. He works at the Daily Planet. He does this because he's compelled to, because he sees the precious sanctity of life and wants to protect it, because he was gifted with powers from birth, and therefore to him, he has a duty to use them to protect those who can't protect themselves, which even extends to squirrels. The Justice Gang, on the other hand, particularly Guy Gardner, do the job because they're explicitly paid to. And you can see the cynicism among the gang in their attitudes toward doing good from the start. Guy is the worst offender. He's an arrogant ass
Make a move, Big Blue.
who does the hero gig for fame and applause. Hawkgirl is conflicted but ultimately apathetic when Lois first pleads with them to help save Superman. And Mr. Terrific, while perpetually exasperated by everyone around him, is the sole member to his credit who keeps his moral integrity and helps Lois and later Superman in doing the real work of saving lives and the planet.
Quit messing around.
I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff.
At his core, Superman is a character who is innately good and strives to do good things, to make the world live up to his dream of kindness, hope, and trust. The scene that illustrates so perfectly this impact Superman has on his peers and the world, and the scene that I ended up choosing, is of course the raising of the Superman flag during the climax of the movie. A lot of people, including myself, while appreciating the movie, kind of wish Superman would have, swooped in to show up and save the day for the one kid who believed and persevered, putting his faith and trust in the hope Superman represents. But instead, the Justice Gang shows up. I'm here to tell you, the Justice Gang's appearance is not a consolation prize having to do with Superman not being able to be in two places at once. And it has everything to do with the overt optimism and morality Superman exemplifies. He even inspires Metamorpho to join the fight. Because of the lengths that Superman went to earn Metamorpho's trust by saving his baby from captivity, Metamorpho is inspired himself to do the kind of good that saved what was precious to him. The Justice Gang, which is essentially a PR move by a billionaire, funded by a corporation and contracted to fight crime under the terms of other people, break ranks to illegally intervene in an entirely unrelated, unsanctioned conflict on the other side of the world. Why? Because of moral duty. Sound familiar? Because that is exactly the kind of ethical integrity without borders that Superman demonstrated in the very beginning of the movie. Not only does saving the squirrel work on us because of our growing affinity for the character of Superman, it works because the entire verse grows emotionally to amplify the message that Superman, the film, is sending. And that message is that in a world of greed, monsters, and villainy, choosing kindness is punk rock.
'Cause I'm a punk rocker, yes I am.
What did you guys think of the movie? How does it compare to the other Superman stuff that came before it? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video and my analysis of Superman, please consider subscribing to the channel and clicking the bell to stay tuned for when I upload more videos breaking down the secrets behind your favorite stories. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff for updates and other film and TV stuff. It'll be linked in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. And don't forget to keep looking up.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.